At the end of the day, I asked myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. And I got to live with that. Most people think I'm just some great animal who runs and yells and just says mother all the time. And that's nowhere near the truth. That's maybe what they see in a 1-minute video, and that's what we believe. But there's a lot of thought behind a person being a born loser, becoming who I am today. You don't just wake up and just rocky. You gotta wake up and think about, there's a process to getting better. For me, I built Goggins from the ground up. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid. That kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I realized this over a period of time. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, I had to go back to that mental lab. And that mental lab is at scratch. That mental lab is in that trained humility. And so that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better.
What do you think most people get wrong about motivation?
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is a constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm gonna hold on to it. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little bit of a spark, you can burn the whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there, because I'm not going to always be motivated. You learn to pick yourself up on your own. You got to be your own coach. I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them the belief, because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will find your weakness and it will just hammer you. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. In their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better.
The day could be today that your career is over. Now what do you do? I said, I better get to work. Rest at the end, not in the middle. And that's something I always live by. I'm not gonna rest, I'm gonna keep on pushing now. There are a lot of answers that I don't have, even questions that I don't have. But I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going, and I'll figure these things out as we go, right? And you just continue to build that way. So I try to live by that all the time.
Have a dream, sacrifice for it, and never ever rest in the middle.
And I came into the NBA, I was like, man, these dudes really don't work that hard. One of the things I would do is, while everybody would be at the cafeteria work, eating and doing all sort of stuff, I just go back to the gym. I just go back to the gym. How can I show you that, no, I have the edge? Well, you do it through training, right? So when I get up in the morning, my daughter goes with me.
4 a.m.?
4 a.m. My 15-year-old goes with me. She goes with me before school, and it becomes a daddy-daughter thing.
That's cool.
Through that process, she understands the value of hard work. And so it's through those behaviors is where I find the motivation to do it. I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. I think that's what greatness is or should be. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person, and then inspire another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. It's not sit around and it's all happy-go-lucky type. The leader, your job is to get the best out of it. Got to deal with it. Face it, learn from it. It's exciting when you win, it's exciting when you lose, because the process should be exactly the same. But the hardest thing is to face that stuff. But what if today is the day that's it. Now what do you do?
What can I say? Mamba out.
My parents were great. Growing up, they instilled in me the importance of imagination, curiosity, and understanding that, okay, if you want to accomplish something, I'm not just going to sit here and say, yes, you can do whatever you want. Yes, you can, but you have to also put in the work to get there, right? So they taught me that at a really early age, man. And when you grow up as a kid thinking that the world is your oyster, all things are possible if you put in the work to do it, you grow up having that fundamental belief.
Who was more influential for you, your father or mother?
Both were influential at different points. Right. My mom was there on a daily basis. My father was really influential at a really critical time where I had a summer where I played basketball when I was like 10, 11 years old. And here I come playing and I don't score 1 point the entire summer, not one.
You didn't score once?
Not one.
Were you in the game?
I was in the game.
How did you not score?
Because I was terrible. Not a free throw, nothing. Not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it, being upset about it. My father said, listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm gonna love you no matter what.
Wow.
Now that is the most important thing that you can say to a child. Because from there, I was like, okay, it gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. I have the security there. But the hell with that, I'm scoring 60. Let's go.
Right.
And from there, I just went to work. I stayed with it. I kept practicing. I think that's when the idea of understanding the long-term view became important. Because I wasn't going to catch these kids in a week. I wasn't going to catch them in a year. Right? So that's when I sat down and said, okay, this is going to take some thought. All right, what do I want to work on first? All right, shooting. All right, let's knock this out. Let's focus on this half a year, 6 months, nothing but shoot. All right, after that, all right, creating your own shot. And focus. So I started creating a menu of things. When I came back the next summer, I was a little bit better. And then 14 came around, back half 13, 14 years old, and then I was just killing everyone. And it happened in 2 years. And I wasn't expecting it to happen in 2 years, but it did, because what I had to do was work on the basics and the fundamentals. But they relied on their athleticism and their natural ability. And because I stick to the fundamentals, it just caught up to me. And then my body, my knees stopped hurting. I grew into my frame.
Love of the game, the challenge. Like I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things. And I'd say, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out. And so that curiosity to see where I could push this thing led me down that path, I think.